Good afternoon, everyone. I just don't know if you realized we just raised the IQ level of this room by several percentage points by having three top chess players. Please, round of applause. Quickly, Harika, as the announcer mentioned, did India proud and has been doing India proud for over 2 decades now. She was part of the iconic team that won the gold at 2024 Chess Olympiad. Srinath, uh, I don't know if you know how much work goes behind, but Srinath has been the coach of the team, the open team that comprised of Prag, Gukesh, and others who won the gold again at the open section. So we've got a player who won the gold, and we have a coach as well who won the gold. So welcome, Srinath. And he's
Thank you.
been a coach of note with Arjun Eragassi's coach, who's now India's number one. And also Nihal Sarin, the guy who's next in line after the Fab Four that we have on the top. Finally, Prachura, an old friend now. Uh, he is one of the rare people who have made transition from being a chess player to being a businessman who does work with chess. He owns one of, he's played several and won several tournaments. And he told me once, and I'm sorry, I'm revealing a personal conversation, but he did tell me that he paid his entire college fees in US by winning chess tournaments. So that's and from there now to owning a team which has Nakamura, Hikaru Nakamura as a player who plays for him. It's been a long, long journey. So, all right. Um, Probably chess is a game that is closest to getting influenced by AI. I've been tracking the technological developments, but all three of you represent a very different side of chess: a player, a coach, a businessman who's linked to chess. Any volunteers to talk about the, the engines of chess? Chess that engines has been part of this chess for a very long time now. A decade and a half is a long time in world of sports. Any volunteers to pick up and educate the audience on what engine is and what it does?
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead, Shna.
I mean, when we talk about the influence of AI in chess, and chess is a game of perfect information. So there are set rules, 64 squares, 32 pieces, and the field is ripe for a computer or an algorithm to, make a large difference. There are not a lot of uncertainties involved, not a lot of variables, weather conditions, pitch conditions. These things don't exist in chess. So um, talking about the influence of chess, AI in chess, and Mr. Sameer mentioned chess engines. Even before the chess engine started, I believe one of the first differences that AI made was the evolution of databases. And I think this goes back all the way to the 80s, around 1984 or 85. Gary Kasparov is a name which I think a lot of us will be familiar with, a legendary former world champion from Russia. And back in those times, information was stored and written on paper. It was like with everything else. So chess notation was also stored in papers. And if you had to see the games of your opponent, let's say you have to see the 500 games that your opponent has played in their lifetime, you had to work very hard just to collate and store that information. And chess databases, which began sometime in the second half of the 80s, made a massive difference in that in 10 minutes you could check your opponent's games, which used to take 10 days in the past. So it began with that. And then very soon there started coming chess programs, which are basically algorithms, where a chess program simply calculates every single possibility on the chessboard. Let's say there are 50 different legal moves. How a human mind thinks is that we choose quality over quantity. About 2 to 3 moves make sense for us. We go to that move, we consider it, then we consider the 2, 3 moves of our opponents. And this is how the human mind works. We filter it out with quality based on our understanding of chess, and we make the next move. But chess engines, they had a completely different approach. Because of the calculation speed, because of the algorithm, which is impossible for a human to attain, they could calculate every single possibility, every single legal move in that particular move, and also the every single legal possibility that the opponent has. And like this, they could go very deep in calculation. And initially, we tried to fiddle around a lot with how the computers thought about chess. We were teaching computers chess. We were teaching different ways of evaluation. And then at some point, uh, someone just ran the engine, let the engines let loose. And the results were transformatively different. The engines were able to, at some point, calculate so much better, especially with the improvement in technology, improvement in speed, and everything. The engines were able to calculate so much better than humans at astonishing speeds that it was able to generate moves of different output. So this is basically chess engines. Imagine a Google Maps versus a taxi driver. And at one point, it was important for a taxi driver to know all the different routes within the city, and they were able to do it better than any technology. But after Google Maps came in, the maps almost always calculates better than a human. It's able to see how much traffic is there at which route. It knows all the different routes that a human will take years to understand, and it can simply calculate better. So, like how Google Maps calculates the traffic and the routes better, similarly, chess engines calculate the moves and all the possibilities at an astonishing speed that humans simply cannot imagine.
Wow. Thanks, Srinath. I think that's a great explanation of how chess always had, at least for the last few decades now. I'll fast forward this, Harika, a little bit forward. Imagine chess players being trained on these engines, and the engines anyway are becoming smarter and smarter, and more games are being fed in. Do you see, let me play a contrarian point of view. Do you see two elite drone chess players playing each other because they are now trained by just engines? Do you see that happening and chess becoming more dull, or there is still going to be a scope of novelty as we speak, or we'll see these drones as Srinath is training them to be?
So I think already this generation they are like heavily trained with engines and the moves. They generate lot of opening moves. Earlier maybe the novelties which were happening at like ninth move or 10th move are now happening at like 30, 35 moves and like already. And like before the game we also have to remember like many moves in thousands of moves. So definitely already the world championship which is going to come up, you will see there is a lot of how to say this generated like computer generated moves that we have to remember. But then even after that, once you are out of your preparation, there are a lot of human emotions that come in,
Yes.
and that's what matters the most in chess. So though it helps or it makes our task difficult, the AI, but still I think the finally the game when it comes on the board, it also depends on the human emotions, and that's the beauty of chess. So I believe that it's making our life harder and better, but it can't take away the game at any point of time, because finally the human values and human emotions make the difference in the sport and in the game.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Now, um, Prachura, let me just change a little bit of tact. Chess, as per the last FIDE study, had more than what 600 million players is what they quoted, who either know chess, have played chess, and so on. That's a huge number. Now, somebody else who's now invested in chess, somebody who watches fans. Now, how do you see chess being expanded beyond that horizon, or what do you see the impact of AI on chess to bring in more fans or make fans more engaged? How do you see that happening? For the common audience, people like most of us here and not these two champions, what does chess help us do, and how does chess help us engage?
First of all, thanks for that introduction and letting my secret out to the world. Anyway, addressing his question, I think AI is making things more simpler in a way where, let's say, for example, you're a fan or you are someone who wants to follow chess or follow chess players. You have WhatsApp bot these days, which talks about which tournament is happening, where you can follow a certain player. You have talking bots which can actually give you analysis of a certain game. I mean, I'm someone who's also a fan, right? So when I see elite players playing, I want to know why a particular move is played or not played. These AI bots are now telling me why a certain move is played and why it's not played. And this is just, we're just scratching the surface. Let's say this AI bot can talk in any language. So we're talking about this bot can interact with anyone in the world. So at any given time, 24/7, we have this, AI interacting with fans at any place, language, whatever you say, and it has it all. So AI is like changing the game here. I mean, even the way that we are looking to engage fans and get more people on board, it reduces manpower for us, cost saving as well in when you talk about business. But yeah, it's just changing the entire landscape.
Interesting you mentioned that because the more you demystify chess at the higher level, like a Harika versus a Koneru game, the more you demystify it and bring it down, I think a lot of sports have been able to do that. And I think chess, the more you demystify it for people, and get say a 10-year-old to understand that game who's starting out in chess, I think they'll appreciate that more. And I think AI makes it easier. And some of the
Yeah,
experiments that you spoke
it's
of.
basically more important for the common man to like understand what's happening in the game. That is the most important way to sort of grow chess and get more fans involved in chess, because the general notion is chess is a very difficult sport or slash game to understand, right? So when we simplify that for people, that's when like you get more fans
I think
on
AI
board.
is the magic
And
bullet
there is I wanted to add another point. There's apparently like a board now where if you don't like to play digitally and you want to play like a physical game of chess and you don't have an opponent, you can just make a move, and that is an AI generated response which makes the move on its own. So you can like ghost anyone. Like it can be like Srinath, me and Srinath playing when he's sitting in Chennai and I'm sitting in Bangalore on a physical board. So just imagine the brand play that we can generate with that and the implications of that.
You're saying something.
Yeah,
I have that board, by the way. It's very spooky. It looks like you're playing against. You're actually right. You're playing against a ghost. I don't know if you've seen this board. It's actually a physical board. You make a move, and the other person, there is nobody sitting in front of you, but the pieces move by themselves because there is an AI engine sitting in the back making the pieces move. So it's actually playing against a ghost. It's quite freaky, but it's quite fun at the same time. So I think it's from the brand Square Off. But I'm sorry, you wanted to
No, I
comment.
just wanted to add, I think he's right. It made life easier for the fans, for the people who follow the game, and made it difficult for the players. Because now everyone, like, after seeing the game, they come with the evaluation and they say, why you didn't make the move? It's so easy. How come you didn't win this position? So yeah, I think yes, it has evolved like, and made life easier for many and most difficult for the players.
I'm glad chess is moving in that direction where you have armchair critics now. Cricket has suffered from it. I know that with today what happened in the Australian India BGT series, there are a lot of armchair critics here. But more of those will only help. But I do have a question for both of you, an important one. Now, you spoke about the importance of emotions and you spoke about preparation. What is the right combination? You've trained world number two now, Arjun Erigaisi. You've worked with, and you are yourself a champion. You've worked with Olympiad gold medalists. Tell me, what is the right combination? If somebody here wanted to either for themselves or for their children or for the cousin of theirs, what is the right combination of bringing in human emotion, playing with humans or learning from humans, playing with engines and learning from engines? What is, and both of you can take it one by one from player perspective and one from a coach perspective. What is the right ratio, if there is a right ratio, or it depends on classical or short format? Just what would be the right combination thereof, human versus AI learning?
I mean, if I had to put it in simple numbers, not based on any research or any precision, but to give an approximate idea, I would say still around 80% of input still has to be from a human, and only 20% from AI, I would say. The human input is very important because we live in a world with other human beings, and human beings bring a lot of relevancy to everything, which we interact with other humans, which AI still does not.
So to elaborate this emotions part, I think most important is like when you are in under pressure, when you say like you might know, you might be the best player in the world, you might know everything, you can calculate the best, but still under pressure or in a circumstances where you might be winning something really big, you could make mistakes and you can't find reasons for it. It's just the emotion that takes over. Than then moves and calculation, and that's where when how much ever the computers help you to go to reach certain place, and you can still go there and play the best or be play like really bad. It depends on how the human is that day is under stress or in a better mode to win, or how it works. Like if you see the last World Championship match against Nepo versus Ding, there were a lot of human emotions that were going through in all the interviews of Ding Leren. So yes, though computers can change a lot more, but when it comes to the sport and when it's on the board, there is a lot more difference than what others can see. It's not just the moves that goes around. There is something inside. It's always, which I also experienced. Maybe not many people understand this from chess, that it's just like sitting and playing, but how many emotions you have to go through and keep it behind in your brain and also think. So you have to do both ways, and that's the most difficult, I think, this mental part of our chess. Because you can't get your brain to go all over the places. You have to make sure that it's, you should calm it down and also at the same time think with the same thing and do your best on the board. So I think, yeah, I just always think that even if you see the online chess now, people are loving it, people are enjoying it, there is much more. But then there is no human side to it, because when you don't see your opponent, when you are not in a circumstances of tournament, like the pressure and everything, then the reality will not come. Maybe you can even play better because your emotions are not taking over and you're just at home and just relaxed and playing. And for me, I think definitely it helped. I can just enjoy, I can play my best chess. But yeah, so I think it can never reach there. How much ever the technology develops, it makes it easier for people to understand, to get better, the best conditions and circumstances. It makes it better in many ways, but I think finally the sport, the value of it will remain the same because we all have this human touch to it.
I think that's brilliantly put. We have almost run out of time, but in summary, is that AI, chess engines, and there's a lot more development happening behind the scenes. I know that now, if you take all of Ding Liren's or Magnus Carlsen's or even Gukesh's games, you can actually play against Gukesh now because all his games that he has ever played can be codified into a large language model, and you can create a bot out of it. And what Gukesh would ideally have played, he would have played, and you can play against Gukesh now. So things are moving in that direction. But I think while AI does add a lot more and it helps in expand the popularity, it helps in preparing better, it helps you in getting better, uh, the human side will continue to remain important as we go along. And I don't see drone player versus drone player is not happening, right, anytime soon. So that's great. Last question, and I've run out of time now. I can't let you guys go before. I'm sure all of you or most of you are aware by now that our own Gukesh is playing against Ding Liren in World Championship from 25th onwards. I'm going to take one guess from each of you. Who's going to win before I let you go? So let's see. I think it's going to be 3-0, what they're going to respond. But let's quickly give them an opportunity and hear from the people who actually track and meet these players and play with them often. So who do you think, Gukesh versus Ding?
No, I mean, of course, I want Gukesh to win. He's a good friend of mine as well. But I don't want to jinx him, so I'm going to say Ding, and I'm going to jinx Ding.
All right. Sir,
I think Gukesh is a clear favorite.
your favorite?
Definitely, I think Gukesh, I think we all have to root for him. And being the youngest challenger from India, it also changes the people perception, and the kids will
Yes.
get inspired from him. I think this is going to be a moment like how after Olympiad things changed. I'm sure after this World
Absolutely.
Championship things will change in much bigger way for
Yes.
chess. So definitely it should be, and it will be
Absolutely.
Gukesh.
India seeing another world champion in chess is what we are all looking forward to. Raise your hand if you want Gukesh to win. There you go. I shouldn't have even asked, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, all the three panelists, for adding your views here on a very interesting and future-forward subject of AI and chess. And wish you all the best for your future careers as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Amit.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.